Yeah, and it's like his level of obsession was interesting too, because when he was a kid, like YouTube just popped off and all he wanted to do was be a YouTuber, to the point where he found like a group chat with like four other dudes, and every day they just wake up and analyze everything. And Joe's like
Wow.
asking him, "Oh, have you watched this movie or whatever?" He's like, "No, I only know." And that's when it gets so good. This also goes full circle with what we were talking about at the beginning about like comedy and being overly
Yeah.
obsessed, and like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like it put you in like a higher level, but also like it fucks up like certain areas of your life. And maybe the episode should be called like obsession or something with that as
Obsession, yeah,
well,
like
because
that.
I feel like the convo just went in full circle by accident.
Hitting
Oh, it's
record
cool to
now.
be on the other side of the interview. I never see what this recording message is that pops up. It's like,
It's
yeah,
like,
I'm
by the
okay
way,
with
you're
it.
being filmed.
Yeah, you can't be sneaky on here.
Yeah,
That's
no, no.
unfortunate. I want to like
Yeah,
extort
just
people maybe one day. I have no reason to now, but that sounds pretty exciting.
but you never know. Yeah, yeah. You imagine you got
Yeah,
to a point in your life where you could do that.
yeah. It's like this is the gonna be like the new mafia. It's gonna be all digital.
Yeah,
Because
a
like
hundred
I
percent.
I feel like surveillance killed all the cool crime. Like back in like I grew up like in the 90s and stuff, and in Niagara Falls, and it was like heavy Italian base of people there. And I remember being very little and being told that there was mafia ties around here and didn't believe it. I'm like, oh, that's only like Goodfellas or whatever.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
used to
That's only New
work.
York City.
Yeah, I used to work at this Italian restaurant. And then when I was a teenager too,
East
like
Side
people were,
Mario's.
no, it was called Mamma Mia's actually.
Nice.
But people were like, "Oh yeah, the owner," like all the older kids who were like cooks and stuff, telling me, like, "Yeah, he's like on the mob," and I'm like, "Oh, that's fucking bullshit. There is no mob." And then one day he went to work, and this is like straight out of like it seems like a movie. He went to work like early, like in the day before it was open, and apparently like a car pulled up and just a bunch of dudes beat his legs with baseball bats, took his
No.
money. I'm like, who came up and rolled up on you like Joe Pesci? Like what the fuck? And then I kept hearing more and more stories, and then I'm like, okay, maybe there is a mob. It was
Oh
like
my.
reverse Santa Claus stuff for me, where I didn't believe, and
Yeah.
then seeing
I
is
have a
believing.
mob story. Remind me to tell you the mob story, but I just hit record because this is just how Sean and I usually hang. But welcome everyone to episode number 33 of the Johnny Rogers Show. My guest today, returning for his second appearance on the show, is host of the Creative Imbalance podcast, Sean Sirianni.
Yo, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
We got into that flow state of talk, and I
Yeah.
forgot we were even doing a segment. It was just like what happens when we have like a coffee together or something. We just go deep down rabbit holes and talking about mafias and aliens and who knows.
God knows what we're gonna get up to. I was saying on one of the episodes, like I did a call out to the people that were watching to just like I know it's you're watching a conversation and you might get to a point where you're like, it's not that interesting to me anymore. Like what they're talking about. I'm like, just hold in there, because
Mhm.
the real funny in most podcasts, you gotta get like three quarters of the way in, because then
Ah.
that's when the callbacks start coming in. That's when
Mhm.
like the we're all warmed up like in the episode itself. I'm like, it's three quarters of the way in. I notice the conversation just becomes super fluid usually.
That is so
But
so true. Especially like the style I do podcasting too. It's a lot of interview based, and sometimes I'll get these artists from like a publicist, and it's not a friend of mine. It's like somebody I'm meeting for the first time, and you fire up the interview, and yeah, like you mentioned, like the first 10 minutes you just start feeling out the conversation. And then what's crazy is so many times I've got to the end of the recording, I turned off the recording, and then that it feels like I just finally got to know the person, and then we'll stay on the call and keep talking. And I'm thinking as
Yeah.
we're talking, like past the hour, I'm like, yo, this part should have been the podcast. This is like what we're talking about off the record. And I had that issue with like Strombo and some other of my heroes as well, too, where I had a recording and I press stop, and then it's like we're just chilling, and then I'm asking like some more questions. I'm like, oh man,
Uh,
this is so good. But sometimes you gotta like, I don't know, I used to kick myself over that. It's like, oh, why didn't I turn it off? But I
they
guess
become
it's just,
stories on future podcasts.
it becomes stories. And it's like, I feel like those moments are just maybe for you like a gift, or just like just a real moment with a friend. It's like not everything in life has to be about creating content, but when you get into I guess the zone, or the momentum of doing it too, your brain kind of switches to, how can I turn everything into, whether it's a YouTube video, a
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like
It's the
probably for you like a
monetization of
stand-up
everything.
set. It's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
funny, how can I make it into a bit? But I feel like sometimes you gotta just break off and like, hey, let's live right now in the moment.
I had that big issue with stand up for so long where I couldn't like take a break from just that mode of thinking. Like every restaurant I was in, I was like, oh, I bet you could put a stage over there and, and we could turn
Yeah.
these seats. I couldn't just like enjoy myself at this
Yeah.
restaurant and just take in the environment. I was always like thinking in like, how can I do stand up here or whatever. And then
Yeah.
like you said, anything that happened to me, like I mentioned this the other day to Kim, but I was just like, it's it's crazy that I was being like robbed in China when I was traveling, but my first thought wasn't like, oh no, I hope like something bad doesn't happen. Or I hope something
You
bad. My first thought was like, I hope I get out of here so that I can like turn this into a joke. I was like, this is
Yeah, it was like already a bit as it's
I was
happening.
already like working. I'm like running premises off the guy, like trying to write down what he's saying,
Yeah. And
trying to
what's
take
crazy
mental
is
note of
like,
what he looked like.
yeah, but sometimes it takes that obsession to get good as well, which
Yeah, it definitely
I
does.
don't
It
know. It's the
definitely does.
gift and the curse at the same time. I think,
It is because you have to
yeah,
know when to like push it and when to just like ease off a little bit on it.
yeah, definitely. And just through my journey of doing podcasting and talking to different artists across the board, from musicians, comedians, filmmakers, pro wrestlers, like everybody, um that seems to be like an overlapping situation with like some of the elites at what they do, where it's just like becomes such an obsession to get to that next level. But then it's like, do you live in that obsession or do you ease off? And
Yeah,
it's,
like how long do you live in that obsession for? Like, you have to have like goals or something within that make you stop at a certain point, or like I said, like ease off, like
mhm.
the obsession is necessary in order to move forward in whatever it is that you're doing. Like if you're a wrestler, for example, and you are, say, a smaller guy, you want to be known for like aerial or acrobatics, you got to be in the gym practicing backflips like every single day until you
Mhm.
nail it for sure. And then even then, like when you nail it at the big show, it's like maybe don't keep like doing backflips for the next little bit, because it's almost like, you know what I mean? You work yourself so hard up to that one point. I'm using this like one specific analogy, but like
Mhm.
you work yourself
Yeah.
so hard up to that one point that like you will exhaust that avenue. You will tire yourself out. Case in point, what was his name? Who, like when he joined AEW, I can't think of his name. Smaller dude.
Maybe Kenny Omega, or
He used to be with
uh
WWE. I know there's lots
uh
that have switched over, but he's known for like a like moonsault, I think it is.
uh
That's like his finishing move. Damn it, I don't know why I can't think of his name. But he's all hyped up, right? And he runs out and he jumps up to the top of the the corner, and just as he goes to backflip, just slips and just like
oh
takes.
damn, oh yeah, that was
I was like,
fucking Matt
oh,
Sydal.
Matt Sydal, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
he,
like, God
and that
damn.
was like his debut too. He just,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is his big debut. So either two things: either he was practicing that too much and he overworked it, or he didn't
Yeah.
practice it at all and he thought he still had it.
Or just get in your head. Do you ever get
Yeah.
like that with comedy, where it's like, okay, you got a bit, you
Oh,
got a joke down, and then when you're on stage, the nerves make you deliver it in a weird way where you're like, oh damn, like why am I
A lot,
speaking like this? Like,
a lot of comedians, and I've done this before many times, is you skip over like an important part of the setup,
mm,
or you like accidentally just say your punchline, like you just give away the funny part of the joke, but like you don't hit it with the same emphasis and look and tone and attitude that you usually do, so it just comes off as like another part of the setup. But then
yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm out of words though. I said the words in the wrong order. How do I back myself? You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
almost just
and there
have
was
to
no
keep.
build to that punch where
Yeah.
even maybe you got a little laugh. It could have been a eruption if you set it up
Had
right.
you nailed it, had you set it up properly, and I was like,
That's so
oh
crazy.
god.
Yeah, it's remind me too. Like I started shooting again for the battle rap stuff, and this weekend we did a beast mode event too. And I see that issue with like a lot of new guys too, where they'll get flustered or maybe just set things up weird, where they'd have like some clever premise or whatever, and you can tell there was like potential in there, but the way they delivered it, it just kind of falls flat. It's like, oh man, and
With rap too, I feel like you have to be like you got your chest up and like just
yeah.
really like delivering it, because the second that you're like and then get
Yeah.
quiet,
Yeah, sometimes
you
I've
feel the light
noticed
get
too where
sucked
somebody
out of you.
says something and it's not even like that clever or hot, but the way they say it just sounds cool. So the crowd kind of gets lost in their momentum and lead up, and then where
You're holding the
the
camera like
punch
that
is
didn't even
supposed to
rhyme.
like hit and then they react anyways. It's just like, oh, they're like become on the ride too. I think that happens with comedy too, where you can get people locked into your cadence and just kind of almost like have that feeling where you're like, okay, I control the room now. Like after a couple jokes,
Yeah.
and yeah, you're on the
And like
you got them on the ride, you know?
Sebastian Maniscalco? Like did you
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
ever
I
watched?
love that guy. Yeah.
So like he has that with like it's exactly like people will just laugh at like anything he says because of the way he's able to present himself. Like even just the way he's like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like that's not even a joke, but the way he
no,
says.
but
I
you were
used to have him
laughing
on
at that like
Instagram and he'd
alone.
be like in Walmart and there's just some people like in the distance, like looking like all cringe or wearing something weird. And he just pulls up his like phone as a selfie, like way in the distance. He's just like, what is going on here? Like, just
Why
his
is this
cadence.
guy wearing socks and sandals at the airport? Like he would just like
You actually do a good
lose
impression
his
of him.
lose his shit all the time.
Yeah. Like he's just so stressed about
Yeah.
like little things. It's
He's like
amazing.
my favorite too is when he does like impressions of his dad and it's just like yelling. He's just like
Yeah.
it's just again just making sounds. Like I think Dane Cook also had that same sort of like cadence where whatever he said it just was like explosive at that time. Like crowds just went insane.
Yeah, it was like hypnotizing in a way, just his energy. And that's something you can't teach. I noticed too with overlapping like comedy and battle rap. Some people could write the funniest or the most wittiest, like awesome, like punchline. But again, like whether it's just not having the it factor or not saying it right or in your natural delivery, sometimes that will like, I don't know, make things again fall flat, which is like, I really believe that some people have it factor and can just skyrocket from that. And not saying that if you're not good at the beginning to give up, because I do also see on the other side of the coin where people put in the work and like kind of have like be
Sebastian, for
able to,
example,
yeah,
he
yeah, he
he
changed so
apparently
much.
from the
Yeah.
stories that I've heard is he apparently was terrible when he started, but he just kept doing, lots of open mics and just kept writing and just kept performing nonstop. And then he goes on to sell, Madison Square Garden like 4 nights in a row. It's
Yeah,
like
it's sometimes you gotta like unlock
you just
your
gotta stick
inner
with, yeah,
it back. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unlock your inner it factor. Is that what we
Yeah.
title this episode?
Yeah, fire. I wish I had more like insight on that. I feel like I'm still on my journey, man. I haven't figured it out,
Mm,
but each
same.
day I keep chipping away and just having mini epiphanies, as I like to call them. Not a huge one, it's just little at a time, but then sometimes you can combine them together, it turns into a puzzle, and then bam, you got
Yeah.
something powerful.
I think it's about like testing yourself too, like testing your limitations, and then
Hmm.
also just trying to keep applying new knowledge that you're picking up along the way, whether it's something you, I would say good or bad. I think the best thing to do is look at a lot of people who are making mistakes and be like, all
Hmm.
right, how do I avoid what's happening over here and do
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of what I appreciate over here, you know?
Yeah, I think what stifled me in the long run is not asking too many questions to like some elders and mentors and stuff, and trying to do everything on my own. And if anybody is like um, pursuing something right now, I just want to share that info with them, and don't do that. Like, especially there's people, there's YouTube tutorials. And I also feel like sometimes people could get like in a situation where I noticed where I was like in job situations, whether it's like video production and stuff like that. And I was like very amateur and doing things that were way out of my league. And I almost had a fear of if I was asking too much questions, like I'm like, oh, these guys
It
are gonna
would,
think I don't
you're
belong here, or
incompetent
I
or
don't know
something. Yeah.
anything, or I'm just fucking like randomly like in the corner, like, what's this? And Google it real quick. And which works. Like, luckily we're living in the era we are now, but I find people, they don't really give a fuck, man. You're already there, you're at the dance, like get as
That's what I mean.
much
If you got
knowledge
hired,
as yeah, yeah.
you
And
got
that
hired
can
for a
apply
reason.
to so many different things. And yeah.
Yeah, I think really like get just that getting as much knowledge as you can constantly in any way possible. Like just like I said, the getting robbed thing, just changing that perspective of this terrifying situation into now an opportunity that could make me money. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
call that toxic. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying, like, it's better than wallowing in the like, oh my god, poor me. This is like terrible that this happened to me. It's like, no, it's my own stupidity, and now I can make something of it if I want to.
Yeah,
The other
yeah,
thing too I
definitely.
realized is like you have to commit first. Like one of the biggest like epiphanies or whatever that I had recently is just like presented with an opportunity, don't even for a second think to yourself like, can I like make this opportunity happen? Like, will I have to move this? Just commit to say yeah, sure, and then figure out the details after that.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
like
yeah.
committing to like that whatever it is, like committing to that specific like date or time period to do something or to perform or to do whatever, like say you get offered a big like job to do videography and you're like, oh, I don't know if my equipment's going to be like good enough, just say yes, figure it
Yeah,
out. Like
figure it out.
it puts
Yeah.
the pressure, it puts the pressure on you to like figure out the situation, to figure out how you're going to make it work, and then you end up getting that, surprising yourself, one, and then getting that opportunity too, which is
Yeah,
where
that's
you
a
meet a gang of other people who can then introduce you to new opportunities.
yeah, I also believe the only way you can level up is putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, in spots where you're forced to, I don't know, step it up or like, and
Yeah.
even like if it's like a do or die situation, you're gonna just it's gonna be, you're gonna be learning that much faster, you know. And instead of like, I notice like with a lot of my own projects, like self-learning, I'm just I'm a little slow without like a fire under me. But then there's other moments where I am like on a production or something and I need to know something that was beyond my level, and it's just like boom. And then what's funny is like, I don't know if people are kind of like me, you learn it once and you never forget it again, it becomes like a part of you as well, which is really cool.
Especially
So
if you
maybe
learn under duress.
yeah. You'll like never forget it. You're like it's
Burned
got that
in.
fear
Patrick
attached to
said that in another episode. He was
it.
like, "It's trial by fire. Like it's like you almost need that." Like quitting smoking, for example, like smoking cigarettes. I was like, I just had to sit in the like uncomfortable feeling of like withdrawal, whatever that
Mm,
is,
yeah.
through those first like few days. It's exactly that.
Yeah. Do you smoke anymore?
No, I stopped. Yeah,
Oh, good for you, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
About time.
Yeah, because I remember I think you were trying to stop like last time you were in Toronto, and like you go like a long stint and maybe just have one here or there,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah. And
yeah.
then it was like a pack a day.
Yeah. So did you find like just being like, oh, I'm just gonna have
Yeah,
one
I can't. It
after a
just
couple days, it just ramps right up?
I don't think anyone can. I've never met a
Yeah.
single person who can just like have one occasion once a week or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I'm you're probably like a similar personality to me too, where it's like when you like something, you'll like overindulge until it just makes you fucking sick. It's like it just love stimulants and like pleasure. Oh man. I
100%.
like stopped playing games for a while, and then
Oh yeah.
I'm really big into like I think I probably talked your ear off like all the Dark Souls style games, and they just
Yeah,
dropped Elden
Elden
Ring.
Ring, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and oh
how's
my
that?
god, dude. So I fucking buy this thing, and it's for a fan of those type of games, it's everything you want, and then they just give you like way more. It's like it's the craziest thing. So I had a few days like recently where it's just like time just disappeared, and like almost borderline the sun coming up. It's like, what am I doing? It's like
Yeah, I'm
I'm like,
wasting
I
my
mean, that
life in
was
this
fun,
game.
but like fuck. And I could get like that with anything too, like in I never had like a problem with like substance abuse, but like I'm a social drinker, so if I'm out,
Mm.
I'll be the last one to leave the party. Like I just
Uh,
love I'll keep going if other people are going. It's just like there's
yeah, you're like,
something
there's no
about
reason
me
to
where
stop. We're out.
it's just like I'll keep the momentum of a good feeling until it doesn't feel good anymore. That's how I'm gonna die.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know what
yeah,
it's gonna be, but it's gonna be something.
yeah. Yeah, I had to like smoke so many cigarettes that I was like, oh, like my throat doesn't feel good. Like I don't like this coughing. I don't like the way I smell. Like just feel like absolute shit before you're like, all right, like I just don't. I'm not gonna do this. Like
Yeah, you need
it's
to
the
have those
easiest
days
way.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way though with any like video games. If I spend too long investing my energy into a game, like if it's any like story mode type game, like I
Mhm.
don't know, Spider-Man for example, I've tried to like I got that when I got the PS4 and I've not even made it past maybe the first level because I just can't
Mhm.
commit to like playing the entire series, you
Yeah.
know, like I'll want to play it a little bit, but then I'm like, nah, I want to play like NHL or I want to play like a different game or something.
Yeah, right on, right on. Yeah, and some of those games will get you good, like with the dopamine. Like that's all it is. It's just injecting
Dude.
you with the oh, and they even there's a new Halo out, and I find like I've been playing that too. And as a shooter game, there's so much like even you can be doing mediocre and the game makes it feel like you're doing amazing because you got like an announcer and
Uh,
like say you kill two people, he's like double kill, and like it's like so much fucking like energy coming at you, and like
you like miss the guy and he's like, you'll get him next time.
yeah, it's like shit, like it's a killing spree, and like yeah, he even
They
has
give
like
you a hype man,
enthusiastic
like a
ones when you do
Halo
like
hype
shitty
man.
things, but oh yeah, it's amazing. And there's all these hidden ones too, like there was like this one like thing, it shoots like almost like a Darth Vader like force push, like it just shoots like fucking you against the wall, and like
Oh my
I
god.
killed somebody with it, and then the like he hit a
Was it
wall, and
gravity
the announcer
hammer?
was just like pancake. I'm like, that's fire. I've been playing this game for 20 hours, and I haven't even heard him say that. Like,
You're like, shit, that's the first time he said that.
Yeah. Or if you do that move when somebody like shoots a rocket or a grenade, he's like, return the sender. Ah! And you're just on your fucking mouse and keyboard, like, let's go. That's why like I can't turn these games
I
on.
can't. I
I got
can't. Shooter games,
aspirations.
especially. Oh my god. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
sweating. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what it is about like those shooter, like first person shooter games. Like I get so, I don't blink. Like when the round ends, I'm like, God, my eyes are just like watering.
Yeah, yeah. What
I'm
was
just like,
crazy too, it's like when the game came out, a bunch of my friends jumped on it too, which that doesn't help either. When that becomes like another thing where you're just like, we're all at our
enablers.
houses, like drinking and fucking yelling through the computer and playing
Yeah.
Halo. I mean, like again, everything is fine in moderation
Yeah, of
and
course.
yeah,
Kids out there.
it's
There's people who
I
make
believe
careers off
like
these
whether it's
things.
like movies or books or video games, it's healthy to get your mind off things and just kind of enjoy just art and life and stuff like that, especially like during stressful times as now. But again, like there's like you can tip the scales. You can get locked into that good feeling like Sean does and just go until it doesn't feel good no more.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Take
With
little
anything.
breaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, isn't that a bitch too? Like, it's the things that are uncomfortable that you have to force yourself to commit to that end up being the only things that move you forwards.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
It's almost
not a lot of
like
people that are just cycling in these dopamine like centers are also moving forwards. Like, at some point, they have to do something that makes them uncomfortable in order to get that progress in life.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, because I can imagine like some people like you hear about like all those like Warcraft players where they just basically like live in the game and they're like wearing like diapers and stuff like that.
That's
And they
insane.
probably have the wildest like
Dude, is that the
social
future?
anxiety.
Meta, like
Yeah.
with like the
Yeah.
VR goggles, you just sit in a
Yeah.
pod. I think what's that movie?
Damn.
Is it called Surrogates? It was like a Bruce Willis movie.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh my god, dude, you gotta
What
watch
is it
this movie.
like a VR type thing going on?
It's so basically they have like robot versions of themselves that walk around out in the world. Yeah, it's
I
called.
feel like that's happening soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the idea I think that they were this came out in 2009. So the idea that they were sold is like, oh, it's way safer if like you just let this like robot version of you kind of stroll out in public and do your daily life. You basically like stay in your house and you're like hooked up in this little like pod, I think that just like keeps you alive basically while
Oh
your
damn.
conscience is in this like robot body. So if you get in a car accident, it's like no worries, you're actually still at home. Like it doesn't really matter. You're still alive. So
Yeah.
it's
Ah,
like
okay. Yeah.
it's ultimate life preservation is what the how they like sold
Mm,
it. I think
yeah. Wow.
it's like crazy.
And what's fucked is shit
High
like that
octane action.
can actually happen.
Yeah, it's totally
Surrogates
possible.
or surrogates.
Goofy ass haircut.
Yeah, he's definitely the bad guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a bad guy haircut for sure, but he's a good guy. They gave him a bad guy. It was 2009. They didn't know any
Yeah.
better.
Oh yeah. At first I didn't even notice that was Bruce until like I really looked at the nose. Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, that movie slipped out of my radar. That sounds cool though. You ever
Check it.
see Ex Machina with
Ex
the
Machina is
AI?
wild too.
AI scares me too, because that's getting better, and you can tell even with your phones of how like things they might not even be recording you, but it's picking up everything you say and target ads and
The ads thing is like getting creepy.
yeah, because it's not even shit I type anymore. It's things I say to my friends and stuff.
hmm I
Like it's wild.
Kim was looking up like cat toys, and it just appeared in my feed, and I was like, and it was the exact one that she was looking at. Like it was just so weird. It just came up as a random ad, right?
Wow.
and because she probably like looked at it, stayed on it for a little bit more than like 10 seconds, and then so the algorithm is like, oh, there's an interest in this, hook it up to the IP address and send it out to all the ad choices that are plugged in right now. I
Oh my
get it.
god.
If I'm an idiot, right? I get it. I hear her talking about how she's looking at cat toys. I'm like, oh, I'll get this look cat toy. Get it for her. Buy it. It's like they're tricking you into like consuming all the time. Because every
Yeah,
time
yeah.
you're just trying to live your life or like, be on social media, check in with friends, you're getting like thrown all of these like subliminal ads that's like it's shit you want, yeah, but like you wouldn't necessarily be spending money every single day on things. They just want you to
Mhm.
constantly, continuously, every day, just buying more things. It's like, what do I need all these things for?
Yeah, it's so wild. Even I've been consciously just taking big social media breaks. Even like this weekend, I filmed a bunch of shows, and as I was like at the different venues and stuff, I'm just leaving my phone in my pocket. I'm like, I'm just gonna talk to people because also I haven't been out in like 3 years, and like because
Yeah, it's good to talk
we
to
live in
people.
Ontario, and it was dope. Even like whether there's gonna be another wave or not, I don't care. I felt so good. Like, um, I was at the Horseshoe, and if you buy a beer, you don't need to wear a mask. I'm like, oh my god,
That's hilarious.
it feels like 2018, and I just like felt good. And whether I don't know if I'm gonna get sick, I was around all these people. No, we're gonna find out. But in that moment, oh my god, I'm like, my mental health needed this just to chill and not feel afraid. And
That's the
whether,
thing. It's
yeah,
constant fear. It's just like, oh, god damn.
yeah, yeah, and it's to the point where I don't even know anymore. Like I feel like the last lockdown put me in such a load. It wasn't even like because of all the bad news, which is a part of it, I guess, but I also like lost like job situations and stuff. So I was scrambling trying to figure out my own life. But when I would turn on the news and be all doom and gloom, it would make everything even worse too, where I was just feeling really, really sick in a way. So I stopped like following like just normal fucking news. And I had a point to this rant here that I just I kind of went off the train here. But but yeah, it's almost like the constant feeding of just doom and gloom, whether it's there or not, was not helping me at all. And actually just focusing on myself and the things I can control around me, and my neighborhood, and like just people I love in, that I feel like that brought me stability again, because you can look at the big picture and it just you feel hopeless, like you can't do anything,
There's
so
so
you can only
much.
worry about what you can handle in a way.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's just like, there's so, I think it's because, like, again, like on social media, if you're like following anything, you're going to see inevitably, if you're on Facebook even, you're going to see someone share like an article that you're like, holy fuck, like I don't want to see that today. Like,
Yeah.
it's just some
Yeah.
wild shit. You're just like, oh, god damn. Like, that's
Yeah, I
horrible.
find
Why would you share this?
Facebook people are the worst for that. There's a bad vibe there. Also, I'm gonna share
Uh,
this episode on my
oh,
Facebook. So what up, guys?
yeah, yeah. What up, everybody on Sean's Facebook? How's it going? You made it this far. Keep sticking in here. Did you hear
Yeah.
that Biden just like had about 30? This is like groundbreaking shit. He had like 30 TikTokers or like influencers hop on a Zoom call, and they did like a whole press briefing with these influencers on what's happening with high gas prices, inflation, and the war in Ukraine. And then they sent
Wow.
these TikTokers to their profiles to like start basically making videos about what they were briefed on by the National Security Council. I was
Shit. This is the new world, I guess.
I was like, there was literally an 18-year-old who had like 10 million followers, like talking about why gas prices are so high. Well,
Yeah.
President
They're
Biden
probably like,
said
nobody's
that,
gonna
like,
listen to the fucking president. So you guys
no, get this
like,
chick on the feed.
oh
They're like,
man.
do, 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 dude, they're dancing and they're like, listen, this
Yeah.
is what's happening with the war in Ukraine. So,
Fuck.
he's
You know
like,
what? I
Biden says the gas prices are going down.
Yeah. And then they
I
just
don't know
have
how to
like a
dance.
controversial like thumbnail that has nothing to do with
Yeah,
what they're
yeah,
talking about. Oh my
exactly.
god. And it's like yeah. I'm glad people are having fun on TikTok, but I hate the dances and the trends. And even it's funny, it's like people will like they'll just do voiceovers of like movies and stuff, and then you see their comments and it's like, oh, you're so hilarious. I'm like, they didn't write that scene, they're just fucking in their room like saying it over with their mouth. Like, I'm like, is this the bar of
Yeah,
talent right now?
yeah. Yo, this is dead ass. This is the exact same like. This is the exact same thing that happened when, like, we were younger and like hip hop and digital music and DJs and that kind of stuff started happening. And the older crowd from like the
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd
They're not
era were
even
like,
playing
it's
instruments.
not real music.
Yeah, that's probably me right now,
That's
but
us right now.
yeah. And
Gen
like
Z, like we just
I'm
don't get it. We just are like, man,
yeah.
I
And
don't
I mean, I
understand.
think I do get the appeal. Like, it's just like kind of like
Like they move their
for
face in a funny
fun,
way,
and
I
it's like
guess. Like,
you want the likes, you want those dopamine hits. That's what they're doing it for. But man, don't call them talented. You know, like even
never
nowadays you don't even
introduce
have
them
to
as
sing.
talented. Yeah, yeah.
Like it's more they focus on like building pop stars and hip hop artists by making characters, and then they'll be like, oh, we'll just auto tune you. Where like
That's the
sometimes like
dirtiest
I'd like to
thing
follow
is
these vintage music pages, and there's like all these like fucking unknowns, and they're just
fucking
fucking amazing. Just to be a singer, you had to know how to sing, and now you don't need that. It's just like we're gonna just yell it into a computer.
who was it? I think it was shit. I want to say Usher. I feel like it was Usher that did this. So TPain was sitting on an airplane. It sounds like a nursery rhyme. TPain was sitting on an airplane,
It's
eating
like
his
Dr.
spirits
Seuss.
away. When along
Or
came an Usher and
set up
sat down
to one of your
beside.
bits.
Yeah. Usher just came over and basically said, like, told him that he ruined music. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
He told him
You,
on the flight that he ruined music
you know what? I don't,
with his auto
Johnny.
tune.
I don't believe T-Pain ruined music, but I like that Usher approached him and said you ruined me. Like I support him doing that. Like I just like chaos, but
Yeah, I
I
love
don't.
chaos. I had to
You
explain
ruined
that to
music.
Kate. I was like, I love, like, I don't mean any of it, but I love chaos. Like, if I say something, it's just to be, or like, I just like speaking recklessly. Like, it's just funny to me. I don't mean any of it. It's just
Yeah, that's the
funny.
comedian in you.
Yeah, it's just funny to say wild shit.
Yeah.
Like, you'll just laugh about it right after. Because you're like, wouldn't that be crazy if I meant that? That's why I'm saying it. Like, there's people who
Yeah,
actually think this, right?
that's where context is so important, because
Mm-hmm.
you get it because you're a comedian. I have other comedian friends who say wild shit and we all laugh. And we're not laughing because we believe what it is funny
You're
because
all
he's a
like,
nice guy and he
yeah.
said something fucked up. That's
Yeah, yeah,
why
yeah,
it's
yeah. That's
funny.
why it's
But
funny.
then like there's again like for better or worse, like there's a lot of like social justice warriors who won't get somebody's shtick and see a tweet and think, even though it's blatant sarcasm, being like, "Oh, this person hates women. He's an anti this." It's like,
Uh-huh.
no, just like we're just being
Ni-
silly.
Said he got that a lot with his, like, he would do like accent videos, and he got that a lot of people being like throwing
Like you're
mad hate. He's
racist.
like, I'm just showing love. Like I'm friends with these people. Like I don't hate them and don't think that they shouldn't exist. Like I'm not a racist. You can't label them like that. And and then who else was it? There's a ton of comedians that I see like post clearly like it's like a satire or like comedy video, and people take it literally. Like they all of the points in the video, they took it as like fact from that person's mouth, and I'm like, oh my god, you're just watching like the level of like just stupidity. I don't
Yeah, they
even know
turn
how
it
to.
into a transcript and don't get it, like, and then they show people who don't know it's like a comedy special, and they think somebody's just having like a
Just going on these
breakdown, like
rants.
speech, like
Like imagine you showed someone like a Jim Jeffries like
yeah, or
written
just a
like
Bill Burr thing, like
just
which it does happen too. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's Joey Diaz almost got canceled, or they
Oh
tried. You
my
can't
god.
cancel any of these guys;
He
they're too
tweets
much of
like, "What's up,
types.
cock sniffers?" like every morning.
Yeah, who do you? What do
How
you
are you gonna
expect them to
cancel
say?
that? Oh my god. He's an
Oh man.
inspiration to speak recklessly. My god, that guy.
Oh yeah. Do you have them on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, like every morning it's just like it's like inspiration, but then he takes it to the extreme. He's like, today's your day. He'll say a bunch of beautiful things. He's like, go out there and get your fucking dick sucked. And, like,
Yeah.
and you read it, and again, it goes
Uh,
down to the context thing where you're reading it in his voice. You're like reading the
yeah.
text like
It's
how
the
it would be his
Sebastian thing
stand-up.
again.
Yes, yeah, again too. Like,
Where it's like it's just the way he says it. Whatever it is just the way that he said it is, which is what makes it hilarious.
yeah.
I always like, oh, for some reason I can't even get into my own Facebook page. I was trying to pull up, because you do that. You post like,
Yeah, once in a while. Yeah, yeah.
sometimes you'll post like a wild status where I'm just like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
And again, like
But
it's
it's
funny
hilarious
because
because I'm
people
just like,
know like I'm a chill dude or whatever. And that's like
yeah.
again, it goes back, that's the joke of it. Like
Hmm.
maybe like I can't even think of an example,
I
but
think that's why again I say every podcast. This is why I started this podcast. But like, this is why I started this podcast is so that people can have more context of like who I am and like what my voice is. Because that way,
mhm.
when I do end up like joking about something, there's more of that. Like you already have a better idea of who I am.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like sometimes maybe from the channels you're on too, like you're you kind of gotta go by a script and kind of match the brand as well, where you can sprinkle a little Johnny here and there, but it's not the full like
When I
experience. And
do, they get mad.
do they? Do they?
They don't like my real opinions.
You don't like who I am? Oh, that's gotta
You
hurt
don't really
sometimes.
like it, does it? But I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
care. Liberal cucks.
yeah. You know what I noticed too? Like all like the weirdo haters, they'll
Yeah.
like be the ones who are flooding the comments, and then you notice the ratio of how many people watch the video, and more people probably like enjoyed the video, but they're
Yeah.
actually like
Oh
normal
yeah.
people who aren't
I
living
was
in YouTube comments, and they'll like appreciate it and not even tell you, like, like
yeah. That's what I mean. Like I don't even like I just laugh now when I go to because I'll pop in sometimes and do comment shoutouts, right? Like where I'll like read out some of the comments from the video. And I went to one of them and I was just like, oh my god! Like I was looking through like, whoo! I didn't even look at this, and it was just like one thing I said, and it just set off everybody. Everybody had like a paragraph on why I was wrong. It was like a whole 1,000 word
yeah,
essay, and like one comment had like 100 likes on it, and then I was just like, "Oh, 100 likes! That's pretty crazy. Like, good for them. That's a lot of likes on a comment. I don't get 100 likes on a comment." But then I backed out and I was like, "Oh, the video has 16,000 views, so it's like
yeah,
I don't give a fuck about your 100 likes on a comment."
yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. That's
You
gonna
just
be
have to
so
adopt that like
interesting.
not caring attitude, like, and not caring in I don't mean to say like, oh, I just don't care about anything and that's how I do it. That's not what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm saying
yeah.
like I don't care about negativity. I know who
Hmm.
I am. I know what my opinions are like, and more importantly, I know that me getting on the other end of this keyboard and typing a response isn't going to do anything. That's
Yeah,
more so what I'm
yeah.
avoiding. I know like trying to have that online discussion where you can't hear anyone's voice, you can't look someone in the eyes, you can't like You know, if someone comes up to me after a show and has a problem with the joke, yeah, talk to me. I'm not going to be like, I don't care. I'm gonna be like, no, talk to me. What do you,
Yeah.
what did you not like about it? But if it's a
Let's learn
comment on a
something.
video, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, and especially too, like I think knowing like you're just a genuine positive dude, and also you yourself knowing your opinion, like if, and just saying things like you, if you said something from your heart and they're mad about it, like that's on them. It's
Yeah, yeah. It's
like
I'm
you're a
sorry, we
good
don't share the
guy,
same
like
opinion.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
that's all.
exactly. Like
It's
there's no
okay.
malice or hate in you. Like, so I
Yeah.
can't even imagine what they'd be mad about. Probably again taking something out of context that was a joke, or possibly you're
It was, I'll explain it. It was so Russia I think they banned, or they set up a new law basically that bans social media there. They're doing it to fight against any misinformation that's coming out about the Russian army, right? Because they're a propaganda fueled state. Like all of their television is controlled by the Kremlin.
mm-hmm.
It's controlled by them so that they get out a specific narrative, right? They were even paying TikTokers to make like videos about why the war on Ukraine isn't a war and it's just like a liberation mission. They kept coming up with all these different terms of like why they were going in there.
Wow.
And I said, because there was these big Russian influencers that were like making videos themselves like crying, like I'm losing my livelihood, and not even that, like I'm losing my following because I can't post anymore for however long this thing is going on for. And I was like, it's a little gross that like they're upset they're losing some followers when like Ukrainian people are literally losing like loved ones, their homes is being blown to
Yo,
smithereens, they're running for their lives. Like I was
that's
like, that's
real
all I said.
shit.
I was like, real shit. I was like,
Yeah.
and then I think the problem that everyone had was like they were hyper focused on the fact that it's not just the influencers that were like losing their platform. It's the people in general that are
Mm.
losing their voice to like speak out on social media. It's like, but the thing is if you're watching the actual video, it's like I'm calling the influencers gross, but it's like you said, it's context, right? So like people will
Yeah.
just hear that and they attach it to any other part of the video and assume that like I thought that no one there is allowed to have a voice and they just apply their own
Yeah,
like.
they extend on what you said. Like
Exactly. They
that's
take it,
always the
they quote
weirdest
it, and then
thing.
they add their own opinion or narrative or spin on whatever it is.
Yeah, when a normal intelligent person, maybe they felt like a certain way that of what you said, they could have went to the comments and asked you, hey, did you mean this, instead of being like,
I
oh,
wouldn't have answered either
Johnny's
way. I'm like,
yeah,
let them
you
type their
wouldn't.
heart out. You know what? I would so much rather that person be like typing their heart out on this keyboard than, I don't know, doing something stupid. Like, there's plenty of other bad things that they could be doing with their time. Like, they're just using it to tell me I'm wrong. Like, that's fine.
I hate them.
Like, however, you're like, I refuse.
And there, I feel like there's times when you put out like so many videos, there's going to be moments where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, because there's just so many hours of just putting out there, making mistakes too. And I feel like maybe once in a while they don't get that part of it either. They put you under such a microscope.
Yeah, it's like word by word is like everything is just over analyzed when it's in reality I'm not even thinking that much about it. Like to me it's a job, you know? It's
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
like you said with yours, it's like you get the title, do the story the best you can to describe like what happened, film it and get it out there. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like it's that's the most amount of thought that I put into it. I'm not like these are not my whole heart in these words. Like
Yeah.
I'm writing a news broadcast. It's like here's what happened. That's it. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
get a little fired up about the subject and I want to add my own like personality into it, but I'm like, save it for the podcast, Johnny.
Yeah, that's good too. And you got a strong mind and heart and everything. But I also noticed like some people who are new to that world, or they become like overnight sensations too, they will let the the comments and things eat them alive. And I even noticed a couple times where I used to work with you, just some newer hosts, and I remember she got like a lot of backlash for something, or it was just like people were like being unreasonably mean.
Just
And I said
shitty.
this same thing that I said to you earlier. It's like, yo, this is a couple people. Look how many like views are on this thing of people just enjoying it and not even um like commenting at all. Like the people who love it are going to be, those are the people coming back every day too as well. But at the same time, it's if you're not conditioned to it, how could you not be offended? You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I noticed like some family members who don't like make content or put themselves out there or whatever, they'll just be on like a Facebook group and somebody will say something and then it
Dude, that's
turns
my
into like
favorite thing.
yeah, a 4-day battle war, and it's like the biggest thing to them. It's like, yo, like you don't even know this guy. Where I feel like people who regularly put out content too, it's just like you get a thick skin to strangers on the internet and just kind of, especially if you know yourself and you know your mission, you're like, I'm gonna keep the ball rolling, this is what I'm doing, and whatever, like you can stay and watch it or you can leave. And but the weirdest ones are the ones who keep coming back and
Yeah,
talking
to
shit.
hate
Like you
watch
see
it.
the
Yeah,
same name
yeah,
every day,
yeah.
just like, dude, like
You're like,
just
leave me
stop torturing
alone.
yourself, like watch something
Yeah,
you
yeah.
enjoy. Like,
That's what I never will understand. Like, and
yeah,
again, like it could just be, but I wouldn't even say it's a separation of generation because you see older generations doing this as well. It's like watch something else. Well,
yeah,
there's so much available. It's the same thing with like leaving a bad review at a restaurant. And like it's like leave the review maybe if it was like the food was unsafe or something and you don't think that
yeah.
people should go back there, but like why are you putting energy into just being like the bread was cold or whatever the fuck, or like commenting
Yeah,
on videos that you hate? It's like why are you hate watching things? It's like when I didn't like a channel I just changed it. If there was nothing good on I turned it off, like you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
like
try to
because
call the
you're a
companies.
reasonable sane person. Like,
Fucking, you don't realize how many insane people are on the internet until you read a comment section and you're like, oh, they're all here. Here they
yeah,
are.
and I feel like some people love to live in the misery. And what's dangerous about that too is you can like humans are very adaptable to their environments, and that's not just in the physical space, that's mental too. And if you're
We
constantly
love
being
pattern,
exposed
yeah.
to that, yeah, yeah, or maybe they had parents like that who are just like would take them around the grocery store like, oh, look at the price on this is bullshit. Like they like just, it's got to
That's
come from
so
somewhere,
true. That's so
and
true. They
then
just like bickered
they're
about
like
anything. Yeah, that's what it
analyzing
is.
everything under that same lens, where it's just like, I'm only gonna talk about the negative and just spew that out there every
Yeah.
situation I get, because that's just how I'm programmed to communicate. It's
Yeah, that,
wild.
just complaining about this shit around me constantly.
Yeah, I am complain bot.
Complain bot.
If
That's
we
the
were in
name of
that
the
Bruce
episode.
Willis world and I ran into one
Yeah.
of those people, I'd just kill him, because like it's just,
Nah.
again, like you're not killing a real person,
It
but
would
I'd
make
be like just
pranking your
whipping
friends
people
so much
off a bridge
funnier.
who'd like
Oh my
mildly
god.
annoy me.
Like if you knew that like getting a new bot was like super easy, like say they cost like $100 or something, like it got to that point where they was like so cheap, like everyone's just buying cheap bot versions of themselves. Pranking your friends would be so much funnier. You just like
Oh yeah.
push them in front of a truck. You're just like,
Would be fucked though
he's
is
like
like the
he's like
day
you
you do
dick.
go
He's like I just got
outside.
this bot. He's all
Yeah.
mangled. He has to take his goggles off at home.
Yeah.
It's like you're fine. I'm outside.
Here's a Black Mirror episode we can pitch
Yeah.
to them. Like, so somebody's
You
bot
listen
doesn't
to
work
Black
and they
Mirror?
have to go do their own groceries that day, and then their friend comes to do a prank and just comes like with like a chainsaw and like, ah, it's like,
It's
no, it's
like no,
really
no.
me.
This sounds like we call up Spike TV and we bring back A Thousand Ways to Die, but it's A Thousand Ways to Die in the future.
Ooh, That's fun. I think
That
we'd
would be a fun. That would be a fun idea.
that'd be the best writer job ever.
Yeah.
Yo.
Do we pitch this? Do we just cut? We
Yeah.
should cut this part out of that podcast.
Yeah, but does Spike TV even exist? I haven't had cable in over a decade.
I have no
Oh, that's
idea.
sad
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Rest in
yeah.
peace. I always loved you, Spike TV.
It's the best. They always had the
Watching
craziest shit.
MXC at like 4 a.m.
MXC. Oh my
Yeah.
god. What were we? What did you want the topic or word to be for this episode? Because we never even really decided on that.
Oh yeah. Didn't we kind of accidentally stumble across one earlier? I forget what it was.
I can't remember if we were joking.
Or was
or
it a
not.
saying?
I think we had like a whole saying.
Yeah, damn.
I can go back and find whatever whatever it was. I think it was like halfway
Yo,
through.
it'd be
30 minutes.
I'm trying to right now think of a word for all this randomness that has happened today.
Just sit in it and think about it.
What about spontaneousness or like
Spontaneous.
something about like just living in the moment and going with the flow? Because really we don't have a topic today. We were just going off
Yeah,
the
we
cuff,
just ranted.
you know?
Yeah. Off the cuff. I want to find
manic episodes.
Manic.
We're just all over the.
That's the word of the episode. Manic.
Manic. No, it's like I don't think that's a good one.
No, I'll go back because the one that we were like, yeah, that's it. That was like 30,
I think it was
30
deep. I
minutes in.
forget. I get like so lost in these conversations. That happens with during interviews sometimes when I notice I get like a really good one too, where it's just like you get so honed in, and then I'll go and edit the podcast, and then I listen to it back, and it's almost like I'm listening to two other people talk. You know, it's that's an interesting thing about.
Said that.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about recording yourself and like listening to it in the third person as well.
Dude, it's weird.
Yeah, but then when you do it enough, it becomes like normalized. But I remember at the beginning, it was like, whoa, like this is so weird. And like, even when I get some guests who aren't used to doing media too, they always like, were like, oh my, or self-conscious about listening to it back and everything.
Like I sound
that's
like
an
that?
interesting thing. Yeah. Actually,
it's always I sound like that. Like that's what I sound like.
Did you see Mr. Beast on Joe Rogan?
I didn't watch it yet. You're the second person.
That's the whole intro. Like he's all freaked out about his voice because he has like headphones on and he's hearing himself, and Joe's like roasting him. But I haven't been watching much of Joe's stuff, but that was a really good episode. And also I feel like every content creator should watch that one, because it kind of goes back to what I was talking about. Mr. Beast was saying as well, where if you have people around you who are better than you at things, ask questions and just take as much knowledge and info that you can. And he was speaking about like how he's like helping his friends make money, where he's just giving them everything he knows in like a couple days, instead of being like, dude, like I had to take 10 years to figure this out. Here's the shortcut. Have fun. Like, here's how you set up this with your channel, blah, 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 blah. And they're just racking in money too. And he was saying he just been doing that in secret for a bunch of his friends, because he also doesn't want people to be like, oh, you're only big because of Mr. Beast or whatever, which I think it was pretty rad of him. Like, I don't know much about him except like a couple of, like, I don't really watch his channel, but I do see his stuff when the really viral stuff pops up. But it was just interesting.
Like number one trending, like he's always like top of the charts, and you can tell that he's genuinely just like a dude who has a lot of great ideas for videos. Number one, and like he can just like almost like a great project manager. Like he can just put shit together. He can just like make it happen. Like he has like just that ability to organize people and get something done, and then get it filmed and get it up. Like that takes a lot. Like people, it seems easy when you just watch it. You're like, oh, this is like nothing or whatever. They're just, doing it. It's like a lot went into this video. You have no idea.
Yeah, and it's like his level of obsession was interesting too, because when he was a kid, like YouTube just popped off and all he wanted to do was be a YouTuber, to the point where he found like a group chat with like 4 other dudes, and every day they just wake up and analyze everything. And Joe's
Wow.
like asking him, "Oh, have you watched this movie or whatever?" He's like, "No, I only know." And that's when it gets so good. This also goes full circle with what we were talking about at the beginning about like comedy and being overly
Yeah.
obsessed, and like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like it put you in like a higher level, but also like it fucks up like certain areas of your life. And maybe the episode should be called like obsession or something with that as
Obsession, yeah,
well,
like that.
because I feel like the convo just went in full circle by accident.
Yeah, we came right
Yeah,
back. Actually, this is perfect. Remember we were talking about callbacks. Also, at the very beginning, I was saying the mob story. Oh, like, and on this,
yes.
so the first time that I was like, oh shit, like there's a mob like here in Canada. I think it was like the son of what's that breakfast restaurant? Breakfast Cora's, I think it is.
In Toronto, like a chain.
Have you ever heard of
There's
the
like
restaurant
Cora's.
Cora's?
Yeah,
Cora.
I've been to Cora's. I think there's a couple in Hamilton as well. There was one I used to go to when I went
Some.
to college there.
So
Good hangover
they.
spot.
Okay. The I think it was the son. Let me pull it up here. He was like kidnapped by some mob.
Of course. That's
Yeah, yeah. Like the
why do I
son, like
find
the
this hilarious? This is
he's
like a
like the
serious situation. I'm
yeah.
like
I know, right? I was like, excuse me, the
the
pancake.
manager of the breast.
Like Core restaurant chain president recounts kidnapping. Okay, so it was the president.
Shit.
I think he is like the grandson though of the lady that of Cora, the lady that like started
Oh my
it.
god.
They put me in a drunk head first. They asked for $11 million. This was
Wow.
they updated it in 2021. But I remember there was like this was a
That's
while ago.
amazing.
This happened. Yeah, and they
Wow.
basically like they ditched him, like put him naked in a ditch. They just like tossed him in a ditch or something. And I was just like,
Whoa.
holy
You
shit, that's
can't even have a
insane.
brunch place anymore without
No,
being
without the
in
mob.
danger. Like
The mom's like, we want to cut the pancakes.
yeah. This is like a Simpsons episode,
He's
like
like,
Fat
what?
Tony coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
who I imagine. Like
It's like, you think Chorus has $11 million to just shell out for like a
wow.
kidnapping? Like, what?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, like out of all the places too, a chorus.
A chorus? You couldn't
I
have
mean, like
kidnapped, like, I don't
they're a bit of
know,
a
a
chain, but it's
bank
not
owner's
like
son?
yeah, I know what the hell's going on
We're
there.
like
Like,
criticizing the mob. They're gonna kidnap us now.
yeah, yeah, take it
They're
all. I
like,
don't have much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, we
I
just
just
want
got this
McDonald's
microphone and the
coupons.
green screen behind me.
He just takes that.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's everything
I
I want.
lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing too. It was like people kept saying on the video that they were like, "Oh, you would be upset if you lost everything too. Like if I like couldn't do YouTube as a job anymore. They're like, you would be so upset if you didn't have social media." And I was like, "No, I would be excited. Like
Yeah.
pressure's gone. What are you talking
Yeah,
about? Like,
and you lived in a time before that as well.
yeah. So it's
Like
like I have skills.
I
Like I don't need to.
wonder if these people saying that are so young they don't know a world without it.
I think so. They're like, oh, this is the only way that you make money. You must not have skills in like the real world or whatever. Like, like
Yeah.
no, I dead ass did
No.
construction jobs.
Yeah, give me a fucking hammer and a
Yeah,
drill.
give me a
Like
hammer, a drill, and some
they're
boots. Like,
always looking for people too.
if we're at war, like I'm not gonna be caring about posting videos. Like, if Canada
Yeah.
goes to war and they just decide to shut down social media to help with the war, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be worried about that. I'm not gonna have time to be upset over losing my internet job.
Yeah. I got a report on
The
it.
delusion. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, what am I gonna
People
do?
need to know my opinion.
Yeah, it's like I don't care about my opinion that much. It's not that great to get out there. Sean, do you want to
um,
leave the viewers with any final words of wisdom? on the word obsession or in general?
Just in general, fuck, like there's so much tension. I'm not gonna break down the world, but just show love, be good to each other.
Well,
I think
we're wrapping up. You can do it. Break down the world.
Yeah.
in
I
the
think
wrap
I
up
ended
segment.
our last episode like this too, just like on a good note. Just be good to people. Don't be a prick to Johnny in the comments.
I love how I'm like, I don't care, and then I bring it up like 6 times.
Yeah, you're just like in the back of your mind. It's just like, yeah, I don't.
I gotta talk about this. It's eating me alive.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Be kind.
But yeah. Oh man. Oh, cool. Popped up the. Oh, actually, guys, if you want to show the YouTube page some love, like 95% of my listeners, they all listen to just like the audio versions.
They're on the audio. That's why I always pull up the video. I'm like, go show them some love on the video because we want to get like subscribers over here.
I should probably be a little more active with it,
hey,
it's cool if you want to see the conversations.
Yeah.
But also I noticed like lots of people like these on their commutes as well. So I also get it if you just want it on Spotify and iTunes. I love you either way. And look at you go. Look at he's ready. He's got the website, the Twitter.
Sirianni on Twitter as well.
Yeah, actually on the Instagram, I'm starting to do some reels of some adventures and places we've been with some live shows and stuff like that, and the battle rap. And I'm going to start putting podcast clips on there because I noticed they get a little more hits that way as well. And just thanks for chilling with me tonight, Johnny. It was nice. Like I mentioned before we hit the record button, I've been in a work mode like nonstop, and I feel like this was my final moment to just kind of take a breather, and let it go and everything. And just appreciate you as a friend and your support like always, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming on again. I always appreciate you making the time for me. You're also the second returning, I think Jared Bronstein was the other guest that came back for another episode. So we're starting a trend here.
That's fire. Yeah, actually, I haven't listened to his second one, so I
want to have that. Like a cast of returning friends for the show. So you're definitely on that list.
Yeah, I love that too, especially since it's usually we kind of went off the rails today, but usually it's topic based, right? So that's always cool to have. You can have the same people on with a different theme, where the style I do for my podcast, I space them out if I have somebody back, because it's almost like an interview / little type of documentary style in a way, where I kind of lead up it's less conversational based and more
you're just like an audio experience. Yeah. it truly is.
I love that.
Go listen to the Creative Imbalance.
Oh, love you, man. I have too much self-deprecation to be hey, listen to my audio experience, but I like when other people say that.
Yeah, it's an audio experience.
You made me blush today.
Check it out. Yeah. If you're listening on Spotify and iTunes, thank you. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review and share the episode with your friends. That always helps. But I've been your... Wow.
You got to leave it in too.
Oh, I got too high at the end here. When you smoke, I smoked weed at the beginning of the podcast, but then just right as the hour is coming up here, it's hitting me right as I get to the outro.
You hit the vape a couple times too, right?
Yeah. So I started getting a little
It's understandable. You know what? We're just having a them, man. I hope them at home are having a good time too.
I can do a clean outro sometimes. Sometimes when I do a clean outro, I'm like, oh, I fucking nailed it, and it feels so good. But then other times it's just so clunky. Yeah. But for now, guys, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers. This is Sean Sirianni saying, until next time, stay classy.
Love ya. Mwah.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.